We're super excited today. We just had an awesome opportunity to go just be backstage with Brian Welch, lead guitarist of Korn. They were avant-garde in really many ways, started nu metal. Talk a little bit about just how the band started, how you guys got together, and really kind of just your rise to stardom.
I was born in LA, and then fourth grade, my parents were like, let's move to Bakersfield. By the age of 10, I started playing guitar. I just really loved music. I met the guys 4th, 5th, 6th grade up to 9th. It was 1992 or 3, and all the guys in the band had been connected somehow or another besides the singer. They asked me to join the band about 93. We had a different singer. We played one show and then we watched the video back and said, you guys want to try to find another singer? And we're like, yes, let's do it. We went to a club and there was a band playing, and that's where we saw Jonathan Davis. So he came down and fell in love with the heavy music we were playing. And you know what's crazy? He went to see a psychic, and a psychic told him, if you go and do this, you're gonna be famous. She didn't give us the information that we were gonna almost die from drugs, a couple of us, and we were gonna be a wreck, and it was gonna be hard, and the party was gonna, all our families were gonna be ruined, We didn't hear that part of it, but only the good.
So talk about that, I mean, in the sense of kind of the rise of Korn and just the incredible stardom that you guys have experienced. Certainly there was some great parts of that, and then there were some dark parts of that, so to speak. Talk to us a little bit about that.
We were just kids, and we didn't know how to accept it. We didn't know how to maintain it. We didn't know how to be good husbands or fathers. We just tried, and we had yes men all over, just anything that we wanted. And we were so famous at the time and powerful that people didn't really have the boldness to do it. But climbing the charts and everything was fun. Being able to see MTV just grab a hold of us, and the record labels really loving us. And so that stuff was fun, right? And go to the award shows. I went to an award show, won MTV Moon Man, and then went to a small little after party. I walk in and Paul McCartney and Madonna is talking at the bar, and I'm just like, it didn't get cooler than that, Right.
Oh, yeah.
So those were the good times.
Right.
But then, for instance, that night, we drank so much, my wife ended up scoring some coke. We would decide to do drugs together, then it was a thing where, okay, let's not do drugs. And then if one of us would find the drugs, instead of getting yelled at, we would keep it a secret and just go do it and try to play it off. Very sick. And so that night she went into she found some, I went into the bathroom and she did coke, and she came out and I could tell. Then it would start a fight, then we left, and then got in a big old fight in our hotel room, and it was always like that, just a bad relationship, man. Bad relationship, and just thinking that we were, God's gift to the world or something, we were just prideful, and it just seemed like whenever we got really high, I'm trying to envision everything, but like some high moments in life, like playing Woodstock '99, there was 200,000 people there. Then there was something that was really bad afterwards that would happen, and I just couldn't enjoy the lifestyle.
Talk to us about some of in essence, all the incredible, the fame, the stardom, created some crisis in your life. Talk about in essence, kind of some of the crisis that it created.
But I remember after the Woodstock, to go back to that, ended up getting home. My parents were watching our baby, Janaea. They saw us and they were like, whoa, they're a train wreck. And they left. We put the baby to bed that night, and my ex-wife was she was out of her mind. She was punching me in the back of the head, just going, and I would take it a lot, And then that night I swung, to get her away from me, I just swung, and next thing you know, her nose exploded, blood's on her face. I just felt like I was in the gutter, man. And I'm like, why doesn't my life make sense? Why can't I get this relationship together? Why can't we figure things out? And it was a sad existence for a while. And then the guys in the band, all of us ended up getting divorced around a 3-year period. We didn't know who we were. We didn't know who we wanted to be. we were just given this rock stardom, you know, and we didn't know how to take it. When I got divorced, I was like, okay, I'm done with drugs, you know, because I got full custody. I got sober, and I was sober 4 months. I was working at the gym. I was eating like right and everything. And I'm like, I felt so good. And I felt like I was doing it. And then 9/11 happened. And I don't know, man, it just brought this darkness on me. The whole world was depressed, you know, and it was like, and I started drinking again. And by that time I moved back to Bakersfield where Korn started, where my family still lives to this day. I had a root canal and got Vicodin, and that was a bad thing. I was jumping from one thing to another because I wanted an escape, you know? It's like I was trying to find pleasure in all these things that were gonna just demolish me and you know, eat me alive. But I swore I was gonna do crystal meth because I used to do crystal meth with my wife, off and on. We always had it under control. We'd do it like a couple nights or whatever. Ended up drinking with some friends, and I ended up scoring some and just promised everybody, myself included, that I was just gonna do it one night. Then it turned into a week, and I did meth longer than I've ever had in my life. So I go for a full year doing meth, and I'm just like, okay, I'll quit after this tour. I gotta quit. You know, I've always quit. You know, I'd do it and then stop, and I couldn't stop now. And then after a year, I'm like, okay, I got to put this down. I can't put meth into my body 365 days straight. So I got off for like a day and a half, and I felt like I was gonna kill myself. And so I ran back to the dealer and got some more. I ran out of drugs in Germany and had my friend send me meth to Germany in FedEx. And so that's when I was like, this is the worst. I got a kid at home. I can't be doing this. I gotta do something. I have to do something. I went to an outpatient rehab, and suddenly I started telling people, hey, I'm an addict. I need help. And that's when I was the most functioning tweaker you'd ever met. I was doing real estate deals. I was making money. I put the face on, but these two guys I was doing business deals with they were Christian. And we were talking about building this neighborhood out by the airport in Bakersfield and everything. And they just invited me to come to church, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. Maybe this is what I need, to hang around with some sober people. So I go into church, not even thinking that God is real. I'm just thinking I gotta get around different people. And then everyone starts talking that God is real and that He'll come and live inside of you. And all the bad things in your life can't stay if you start a relationship, if you're struggling with something. And I'm just like, I asked Christ in my life when I was 12, but I didn't know it was real. And so I started thinking back then, I'm like, maybe that was something that I did that meant something, but I totally went the opposite way. And so my life is ruined now, and I'm an addict, and everything's failed besides Korn. Maybe that's why I'm a miserable rock star, maybe. And so I was like, okay, first things first, let's get off the drugs. And I received Christ that day. I was like, you know, Lord, come and live inside of me. Please help me. And I went home, I started praying. I'm like, maybe this is it. And it was weird because I felt guilty and I felt ashamed, but then I felt all this hope too. And people were teaching me, like, you know, He forgives everything. And because I was like, man, I was into porno so bad. I treated people horribly. I was a bad father. I was just all that stuff. And so, you know, I went home. This is what got me free from drugs. It was a touch from the Lord, through the Holy Spirit, or however it worked. I was at home and I was reading the Bible thinking, you know, how do I know this is real? How do I know this is real? And I felt just, I don't know how to explain it. I just try every time. It's just, it was like the Christ life like got poured into me. And I called it liquid love in my book. And it was just a peace that surrounded me, and like an embrace. And it was like God just saying, you're home. You're home, and you're gonna wake up finally, and everything's forgiven. And after that, it was funny, I started having, I like to say as a joke that I was cursed with positive thoughts, because I stopped doing drugs, and I'm like, man, everything's gonna be fine. Before it was like, kill yourself, your daughter's gonna be better off without you, and all this. And I had suicidal thoughts all the time, and I would mix uppers and downers, Xanax and speed, and I just was filled with hope, and I went for it. I was all in. We talked about that earlier. I was all in because I found the meaning of life.
Yeah. There was this period of time, you know, go to church, come back, surrender your life to Christ. And then really, my understanding is, Brian, in a 3-week period of time, you had a $23 million record deal on the table with Korn. You leave Korn, $23 million on the table, all in for the person of Jesus Christ, and all in terms of just knowing that you wanted to just be the father to Janaea that you knew that you needed to be. Right. After you made that decision, certainly there was certainly some Christ-following people that were excited about that. They, certainly cheered you on, but there's a lot of other people who didn't cheer you on when you made that decision. So talk to us about that whole kind of storm of that 3-week period of time.
Basically, they said, we're going to give you all your next 3-4 years up front, all the money up front. But we pretty much own you, and you're going to go and tour, and everything you make comes to us. I couldn't be that person anymore. I needed to be the number one thing, and I think everybody can relate to, is parenthood, and it's like, we don't want to be failures as parents. And I was a failure. And so I was like, I don't care how much money that is. I got to be home with my daughter, and I got to figure myself out and follow Christ and see what he has for me. And so I was all in, man. And it was hard because a lot of the fans just started mocking me, and I called it on myself. One day I was a big rock star, next day I'm in Israel getting baptized with a beard and a white robe looking like Jesus. But it was fun for me too, because I was like, I didn't care what no one thought anymore. It was like I was trying to be cool, and I just wanted to know God, that was it, and be a good father, period. And so went in the media, got mocked by some other musicians and everything, and there came to a time where I was just like, I just need to go away and just be a dad and don't be in the media at all. And so I went away, and that was it. For the next 2, 3, 4 years, me and my daughter were just like low key in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. Just taking her to school and just doing life, going to church, finding out how close can a person actually get to God. Because I was at home for hours, just like I would read, I would worship. It totally set me free from unbelief and everything. Because I would teeter-totter sometimes, go like, oh, what if I'm believing a lie? Right. Because it's just your head. But then after that season, all those are gone.
Maybe just give people a little bit of picture. Brian Welch before Christ, Brian Welch after he comes to know Christ.
Had some good times before Christ, but ended up becoming an empty shell with nothing inside. No meaning inside, no meaning in life. After Christ, full of meaning, full of purpose. If you go all in with Jesus, he will show you that the meaning of life and what it's all for. And so I could be failing at music, and like I did as a solo artist after following Jesus, I could be successful again with Korn, like I'm doing now. Paul in the New Testament said that I've learned to live content in living in lack and having plenty. And that secret is I can do all things through Christ. And it's basically talking about relationship, the relationship with Jesus. I can do all things through him in my relationship with him. And so that's me after Christ. It's just every contentment, nothing's perfect, but there's just a river or ocean of peace inside of me that even when I go through hard, difficult things, that he's got this.
I was super intrigued, Brian, just about your journey in the sense of all in, fully surrendered to what Christ wanted to do in your life, totally changed your life. And then here a few years ago, you returned to Korn. And talk about the decision to go back to Korn. And I know you didn't have to go do that decision. Talk to us about why you went back and what God's done kind of as a result.
My whole story was leaving Korn to follow Jesus, and so that was my story. Right. And so I didn't want to tarnish that story, because a lot of people, especially the youth group parents, looked at me like a hero, Right. See, he can do it. Stay out of the world, kids. Look at this guy. Right. And then the kids looked up to me too. There was a lot going on when I left those 8 years. I mean, there was drugs, there was groupies, there was crew members that were just not good for the band, you know. And so after being back in the band and talking to these guys, it seems like once they got life figured out and got that stuff out of there, then that's when God sent me back. It's crazy. The hard drugs were gone. People started having kids again. They just had epiphanies. They woke up. Everybody believes in God in their way. I went on tour with POD. They're a heavy rock band, you know, and ended up at a Korn concert. Ended up seeing all of them for the first time in years, and they asked me to play a song, and everybody was so excited, including me. My daughter was there, and then it was in the media the next day, all over the rock and roll media, and everyone's like, we never thought this would happen. It's been a long time. They asked me to come back, and I still was like, no, thank you so much, but my stories, I left it, you know? But then it was gnawing at my soul, and I went away for like 30 days, and my daughter was with grandparents, and I just got into my house, and I was just like, is there anything on this? And then I had like 3 people that I really trusted. I was talking to them. I started to realize that it was pretty clear that, pretty biblical to go back to your old people, you know? After Jesus set the demoniac free, he's like, go back to your people and tell them everything God done for you. So I started getting these just revelations that I was supposed to do that. And then I'm like, oh gosh, here it goes. Here it goes. The Korn fans are gonna be happy. Christians are gonna be like, we knew it. He was never one of us. He's just going back to the dog returns to his vomit, that type of thing. And I'm like, no, really? Jesus is leading this. You don't understand. Well, what about those songs? What about the cursing and all that? If we're gonna get upset over some swear words, you know, then guess what? We ain't gonna reach nobody. So I had to get some religiousness taken out of me. And so, because I was just like, no, this is my story. What are you doing, Lord? Lead me, guide me. And he's like, I'm leading you there.
Right.
So I'm like, you're gonna mess everything up, Lord.
You know, as you've said, this is your tribe. These are your people. And I think I was just so compelled, drawn to seeing you be able to share your faith in a way that people could understand it.
Yeah.
They could get it. And, you know, you did it with authenticity, with integrity, you know, the places that you're putting yourself so that Christ can be seen, and how that you're leveraging your story and even your pain.
A lot of it was done after giving my life to Christ, you know, because he makes us stronger through trials and tribulations. And it's not for the weak, man. It's not for the weak. It's for those who are open to finding something worth dying for, you know? And it's like dying could not be like human life dying, but it could be just like dying through circumstances and watching God raise things back to life, you know?
Right.
Circumstances through
Right.
life.
Yep.
Everything's dead, everything's hope is gone, and then boom, he fixes it. Yeah. He is the resurrection and the life. And so I've seen so many resurrections happen in my life and got through all this pain, and I wouldn't change any of the pain.
I know, Brian, that there's going to be people that are going to watch this interview who are huge Korn fans, that have been following you maybe for years. They're not sure really what they believe or what they think about God, but they're hanging on by a thread. What would you tell them? What would you say to them today?
I was just like them. And the thing is, we're kind of wired not to believe, but when you bring your humility to God, he'll show you the meaning of life. And it doesn't all happen at once. Mine was done like, it was kind of dramatic, the change.
Right. Yep.
But then I struggled with, you know, I think it's real, but what if it's not, you know?
Right.
And then he'll start to peel back the layers of unbelief, God does over time.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're in, and you're just like, you find the meaning of life. And look, you can be yourself. I always tell people, be yourself. You don't got to turn into some cookie cutter Christian.
Dude, you definitely got that down.
That looks like everybody else. But I'm telling you, your life, if you're just living your life and doing your own thing, it's like at the end of it all, you're just gonna be like, there's no meaning here, you know? God said that if you seek me, you will find me if you search for me with all your heart. So that's it. You search for him with all your heart. And it's time. It's time for people just to wake up, you know, because there's so much more to life. And God says he will prove it to you. He'll prove it to you. Right. By the Holy Spirit, gives you a deposit as a guarantee. No other religion can guarantee except Christianity, because he gives you the Holy Spirit as a guarantee, so you know. What's a deposit? It's a little down payment on something, the bigger amount that's coming, right? And so that's what he gives you. And so that's why I tell everybody, you know, if I've done my part, I've told you that it's real and that God will guarantee and show you that it's real. So it's up to you now.
Thanks so much for being willing to share your story and how you're sharing your story. And I just know that all kinds of people are going to be blessed by even our conversation today. So thanks so much, brother. Awesome. Appreciate
Thank
you so much.
It was a pleasure to hang with you guys and talk to you.
Great.
And I love you guys. So much love, everybody.